Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. This is a play day. I like play days. So a play day is a day where I don't have anything else that I really need to do. So I'm just gonna spend a bunch of time just making stuff. And today I'm gonna do a stenciled envelope. This is part of my stenciled envelope series. This is envelope number 7, I believe. So we're gonna stencil an envelope. And we're going to use this stencil, and this is by Stamperia, I believe. I think that's who it's by. It is stained, this ink on here. This was stained from using it on a gel press. I had acrylic paint that stained this, which is surprising. I scrubbed it and it didn't come off. But you can at least kind of see what the design is on it. So we're going to use this stencil, and we're going to stencil the front of this. And we're going to use Canson Bulk inks because they are beautiful for stenciling through envelopes or just ink blending or whatever. I've done a couple, as you can see, a little bit messy, but I think we're going to use all the colors today. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put a piece down in the center of my envelope where the address will go. Now I did use this on a previous envelope, but it's okay, they're reusable. So we'll just put this down where we want our address to go, just like that. And this is a pretty big stencil. The envelope is only 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's a standard A2 size envelope, but the stencil is pretty large. And I think we're gonna have to tape this down to the desk so it doesn't move, because it actually goes outside of my grip mat. The grip mat is out of a Altenew Stampwheel. It's a great little tool, and it is a really nice grip mat from that. So okay, so let's uncover our inks and let's get busy. Now the reason why I'm stenciling envelopes is because, you know, it's fun to decorate your envelopes. I don't know if you decorate your envelopes. Do you decorate your envelopes? I used to do it all the time, and then I got away from it, and now I'm getting back into it again. And I've never really stenciled on them. I used to stamp with just my regular ink or my regular stamp pads. I would stamp images and then I would color them. So I think we'll go ahead and start out with some red. And let's just do some red down here. And you know what? Let's meet in the middle kind of thing. So there's some red. I don't know if we'll get through all of the colors or not doing this, but we're gonna try. So some red, some orange, and then some yellow. And I'm gonna need to re-ink my yellow ink pad, I think. And some yellow on this side. And I'm trying to blend them together a little bit. The Canson Bulk inks are really beautiful to work with. They blend really, really nicely together. And I think we're only gonna get as far as the teal on this one. I don't think we're gonna get the whole way through the rainbow. And that's okay, because I think it'll still be very pretty. So, and then some green. But anyways, I was saying the Canson Bulk inks are really beautiful inks. They blend together so nicely, and they're wonderful to work with. I would love to get my hands on a couple of more of her sets. I've got 2 of her sets right now. I have this set, which I believe is part of the party collection. And then I have another set that is like the darker version of these, and that might also still be the party collection. I know she has like party and spa and some other ones, but I don't know the names of all of them. But essentially this was the first set I ever got. I liked the bright colors. And then I went looking for colors that were the counterparts to these, but were in like the rich royal colors or the gemstone colors. And that's how I picked my colors. And she makes a ton of different colors. And I want them all. But I'm good with what I have. you know, I mean, and I use what I have a ton. So, okay, so I think we need to probably go back over this yellow a little bit more. It's looking kind of pale in comparison to the others. And I want the whole envelope to be bright and bold. And it may be that I need to re-ink that ink pad. Okay, and I'm gonna stop because we're getting muddy up here. Okay, so let's cover the ink pads back up. So now I'm gonna put down a piece of parchment paper over here, because if you've seen the other videos in this series, you know I'm gonna do something with this. We're not just gonna rinse this off. So let me get a piece of parchment. Rarely in my videos where I'm using inks and doing stuff like this, rarely do I just walk over and wash the stencil off and not do anything with all of this ink. The only time that I would actually rinse this off and not do anything extra with it is if I knew that the colors were gonna turn to mud. But this one, that's not the case. So we're just gonna set this one aside, just like that. And now this one, I'm gonna lift this off of here because there is ink on this and I don't wanna get that on this. So let me put this, if I can get off the table. That's why they call it a grip mat. If I can get the grip mat off the table. All right, I am back now. So now the first thing that I'm gonna do, before I take this middle label off, I am going to draw around this with my pen, and that will give us an outline around where the address will go. Okay, and now we're gonna peel this piece off. And there's our envelope. That's pretty awesome. And this piece, I might use this on the back. I'm gonna use it on the back of other ones just as like the sealer thing. But I used this on another stencil, but I think it'll be all right. I think we might still be able to do that. So now the residual adhesive that's in here, we're gonna just use this sand eraser to get some of that off. And there is our envelope for today. See, quick and easy. I mean, you can do this in a matter of minutes. You know, it literally took us, what, 10, maybe 15 minutes to do this. So yeah, so pull out your inks, make a mess. You know, you can do stuff with that too. And if you come back for another video, you'll see where there's gonna be a video about cleaning my brushes and cleaning my pouncers. And I'm gonna do something with all of that too. But anyways, so pull out your stuff, have some fun, decorate some envelopes, brighten somebody's day. So if you need to leave, go ahead and go, totally understand. But I'm happy that you're here and I appreciate that you stopped by, but I understand if you gotta go. But if you don't and you wanna stick around to see what we're gonna do with this, hang out for a couple of minutes because now we're gonna play. Okay, so if you've watched any of my videos where I do stuff with ink, you know that I can't just leave well enough alone. You know I have to do something with this. I've got ink all over the place up here. Yeah, I can't just leave this be. I could take it over and rinse it off, but there's way too much potential here. So we're going to, should I shimmer this one? Yeah, I guess I could. So I've got some homemade shimmer spray. Homemade shimmer spray is made using, this is how I make it. Liquitex, acrylic mediums, iridescent medium. A couple drops of that, a little bit of water. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in there. I don't know why it turns it a lavender color because it's certainly white in here. But anyways, this is how I make my shimmer spray. And can you imagine how long this bottle is going to last me? Like 3 drops at a time to make this whole bottle. So when you spray this on, and you can spray this on anything, and it gives it a real nice shimmer to it. It's beautiful in person. The camera doesn't pick it up that well, and I'm sorry for that because you can't actually see it that well. But I highly recommend that, and I'll put a link to that in my description. Bottle from Amazon. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna spray this down and get this ink moving. And yes, I'm being generous about how much I'm spraying on here because I have that whole bottle of Liquitex stuff over there and it doesn't take that much. Okay, so this is kind of big. So I guess we'll get most of it with this. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So I'm gonna lay this piece of watercolor paper down. This is Canson 140-pound watercolor paper. I get this from Amazon. I'll put a link below. I buy it in bulk because I do this kind of stuff and I play and I go through lots of it, but I use all of it to make cards. So we're gonna go ahead and, you know what, let's lay this down. Let's do a twofer. I've got these little strips, scrap watercolor paper. So let's lay that down. Let's close this over. Okay. Now I'm gonna put something heavy on top of this. And when I say something heavy, it's a stack of dies. These are some of my dies, and they're on magnetic sheets, which are magnetic vent covers. You can get them at Lowe's and Home Depot. They're just mounted onto cardstock into plastic pages. I'll link all this stuff below. I won't link the individual dies that are in here because we'll be here forever. But anyways, this weighs a good probably 3 pounds easily. So I'm just gonna use that as my weight, and I'm gonna turn off the camera because this is like watching paint dry. And we'll be back in about 10 and we'll see what we got. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes, maybe a little longer than that. And we're gonna take off these dies, the weights, and we're gonna see what we got. Now, where did we leave off with this? Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over so we can kind of see what we're working with here. I'm gonna flip this back. Now, I am going to press a piece of paper down into this. Just real quick, and pull it up. And we've got rainbow colors, which is pretty. Just some quick ink smooshing on here. Okay. Cutting another sheet for on the other side of that. I don't know if there's enough ink on there to pull off of that one, but you know what? We're gonna try it. So we're gonna sit this down on here. I'm gonna wipe the residual off of this. And this is just pulling the excess off of the top of this stencil before we lift up the stencil. This may not be usable. Well, we'll figure out how to use it. Okay, and it looks very similar to the other one, doesn't it? All right, so I'm just gonna set this aside. And that was our residual piece over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this one up. Well, I guess we're pulling up the whole stencil. That's super pretty. Wow. I'm just gonna sop up the extra. Those are gonna make some pretty cards for sure. All right, so I'm gonna put those over there to dry. Now we've got this. Do you think we can get another one out of this? Should we spritz it down some more? Yeah, let's do the shimmer spray because the shimmer spray is pretty. Okay, let's just put another one down just for fun. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to let this one sit. So we'll see you in 10. So we are back. It is 10 minutes later. And we're going to see what this last piece looks like. This probably will be the last one. I don't think there's going to be enough here. So this is just regular cardstock. And I don't know if there's going to be enough ink on here to do anything. I can see where the orange square was from before, but that doesn't mean that we have a good print underneath this. So let's just see. It's a little lighter. You know what? I'm gonna dry that with my heat tool instead of blotting it off. And that, my friends, is a super, super pretty piece. And none of that would have been possible had we washed off this stencil. So now I am going to wash off this stencil because it is mud at this point. So we started out stenciling this envelope. And from the ink that was left over on the stencil from this, we pulled this and this. And then we also sopped up some ink on the other side with this. And then off of the stencil with this. And then we finally pulled this. And I think this is the most beautiful print that we have pulled. But all of these are going to be great to be able to use on cards. And none of this would have been possible had we just rinsed off the ink into the sink from this. But instead, we have all these beautiful pieces to work with. This will be another video. So thank you for joining me today, and thank you for sticking around to see the end of this. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you learned some things. I will link to the iridescent medium in the comments below, or not in the comments, but in the description, because if you could see the sparkle on this, it is just unreal in person. It's beautiful. All right, so that's it for today. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you the next time. Thanks.